This person began to see you with other eyes, and this changed something very deep inside them. What before seemed common, predictable, or even too quiet, now gained another weight in this person's heart. Your presence began to be perceived in a new way. Your value became clearer. Your way, your energy, the form in which you take care, feel, observe, and love began to be seen with a depth that before wasn't being understood. And I will tell you one thing with all affection. When someone begins to see you with other eyes, they rarely manage to go back to feeling the same way as before. Because after the truth of your value enters someone's heart, something changes forever. Maybe you lived through days when you wondered if you were being seen truly. Maybe you felt that you were delivering too much and receiving too little, offering attention, affection, understanding, but without perceiving a clear answer on the other side. And that tires you out. That messes with self-esteem, messes with hope, messes with peace. Only there are moments when heaven allows a silent turnaround. It doesn't happen with noise. It doesn't come with an announcement. It doesn't arrive with trumpets. It simply begins inside the other person's awareness, and it is exactly that which the angels show here. This person began to review memories, gestures, and situations that before had passed unnoticed, small things but full of meaning. A care of yours that seemed simple, a word you said at a right moment, a silence of yours that carried maturity, a distance of yours that made absence speak louder than any explanation. And you know what I think when I listen to a message so? I think that often people only understand the greatness of someone when they stop having such easy access to that person's heart. Sometimes, distance teaches what presence tried to show for a long time. If you are listening to this now with a heavy heart, stay with me until the end, because there are details here that can touch exactly the part of your story that nobody sees. And I know it is not easy to maintain calm when it treats of someone important to you. Even more when feelings stay confusing, attitudes don't accompany what the heart expects, and time seems to drag answers. But there is something very important happening behind this situation. This person is no longer looking at you the same way. The look changed because the understanding changed. And when the understanding changes, the feeling begins to reorganize itself. Before continuing, write in the comments this mantra: I receive the recognition of my value with peace, faith, and serenity. Write it with faith, because when the gente writes, it seems that the heart agrees with what heaven is releasing. The angels show that this change of perception didn't come from nothing. It was born from a process. Maybe this person tried to ignore what they felt, minimize your importance, act as if everything were under control. But inside, something began to bother. An inevitable comparison, a strange emptiness, a growing perception that you weren't just someone present, but someone rare. And this messed with this person in a stronger way than she would like to admit. There is people who only values when feels lack. There is people who only understands when loses access. And there is people who needs to see you more distant, more centered, more collected, to perceive that your presence was a gift. In my vision, this doesn't happen to punish you, but to reposition things, to show who you are of truth, to make the other perceive that your love, your time, and your energy weren't something common. You weren't a detail. You were an important part of this person's piece, and now that started to get clear. This person passed to observe you with more attention, even if in silence. It can have been through the social networks, through memories, through conversations with someone, or simply because your energy continued echoing inside her. And the more this person observed, the more perceived things that before didn't see. Your strength, your delicacy, your sensitivity, your capacity to love without needing to make a show, your tiredness too, because when the look matures, it doesn't see only the beauty. It sees the effort, the truth, and even the hidden wounds. And I want to ask you a sincere question. How many times have you already felt badly interpreted by someone who today begins to understand who you really are? Ponder in this for an instant, because sometimes the answer for which you expected doesn't come in form of immediate words. Sometimes it begins as awareness in the other's heart, and that process already started. The angels show that this person already doesn't manage to fit you into the old image she had of you. Before, perhaps saw you with convenience, now sees with respect. Before, perhaps saw your affection as something guaranteed, now begins to perceive the weight of what received. Before, perhaps thought that you would be always there, now feels fear of that you are no longer available of the same form, and this fear is teaching much. Now I want to ask you for a simple but powerful thing. Write in the comments 777 as an act of agreement with this message and of openness for that which heaven is reorganizing in your life. And if this message is truly helping you and you feel in the heart, now the videos will have a QR code for donation. And also, there is going to be a link for donation in the description and pinned comment. If you want to support this work of faith and comfort, this gesture helps this word to continue arriving in more people who also need direction and hope. What the angels reveal now is very strong. This person began to perceive that there exists something in you that didn't find in no one. It is not just longing, it is not just need, it is not just attachment, it is recognition. Recognition of value, of truth, of connection. And when this happens, the other person's heart enters into a place of confrontation, because recognizing your value also makes this person perceive where failed with you, where was cold, where was slow, where didn't know how to demonstrate, where didn't know how to take care. I believe of truth that this type of perception messes deeply with someone, because it is not comfortable perceiving that received something precious and didn't know how to treat with the same intensity. It is not easy looking back and noting that someone was there with sincerity, while the gente still was confused, distracted, or trapped in oneself. This person is being led to see exactly that. And this awakening brings restlessness. It can be that in the last few days this person has remembered you in a different way, not only with nostalgia, but with admiration, not only with feeling, but with respect, not only with desire, but with awareness. And this change imports much, because admiration strengthens the feeling, respect reorganizes the intention, and awareness prepares the terrain for more true attitudes. Take a deep breath for an instant, place your hand on your heart, and feel this message. There is something being restored in the spiritual field of this connection. Still that you haven't seen concrete movement. There is a real change happening in the form as this person perceives you. And this, by itself, already alters much thing. The angels also show that this person passed to associate you to feelings that bring peace. It can look contradictory, because at the same time there is restlessness, guilt, longing, and doubts, but below that all there exists a truth. When thinks of you, this person feels that there was something good, clean, welcoming, true. And this turned into something impossible to ignore. In the middle of so many superficial relationships, shallow conversations and bonds without depth, your energy started to stand out even more. Perhaps you don't even imagine how much your maturity marked, how much your form of feeling stayed engraved, how much your way of taking care without making noise remained alive in this person's memory. An emotional realignment is settling in because many women tire of being strong, tire of demonstrating value and not being recognized. So if this is your case, I want to tell you with much affection, the fact of delaying doesn't signify that passed unnoticed. There are things that the other's heart only manages to understand later. If you aren't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel and stay with us. Here always exists a word of faith for when the heart needs to breathe. The angels show that now, this person is looking to you with a mix of enchantment and regret. Enchantment because began to see the depth that before didn't see. Regret because perceives that perhaps has been late too much to perceive certain things. And this sensation has weighed, because when someone passes to see you with other eyes, also begins to perceive the risk of not having more you nearby of the same way. There is a detail here that I think very important. This change of look didn't happen only because you pulled away or because time passed. She also happened because you changed from inside. Something in you matured. Perhaps you have begun to collect yourself more. Perhaps has stopped insisting so much. Perhaps has left of running behind with the same intensity. Perhaps has learned to suffer in silence and to keep more for yourself. And this made this person look again to you, only that now, with more attention. In my vision, there exists a very grand strength when a woman stops imploring to be seen and begins only to be whomever she is. This creates an impact that much people doesn't understand of immediate, because true value doesn't need to announce itself the whole time. He imposes itself by the absence, by the posture, by the dignity, by the peace that someone carries even being wounded. And it is that which this person is beginning to see in you. The angels show me also that this person has thought in what would say if opened the heart. Can still not have found complete courage, but already there is internal movement. There are phrases being rehearsed in the mind. There are memories turning into desire of approach. There are growing perceptions that she needs to do something before it be late. Only along with that comes fear. Fear of your reaction, fear of not finding the same openness, fear of perceiving that you already don't stay in the same emotional place. And I understand that point, because when the feeling changes level, courage not always accompanies in the same rhythm. But there exists something even deeper happening. This person doesn't want only to get closer, wants to be seen by you of a better form than was before, wants to correct the image that left, wants that you perceive that now there exists an understanding that before didn't exist. Write in the comments a list of people, including yourself, whom you would like to forgive. Visualize each of them, send love and say, I forgive you and I release you. May peace be with you. Feel the lightness this brings, because the angels show that forgiveness will have an important role here. Not only the forgiveness in relation to the other person, but the forgiveness in relation to the weight that you carried for so much time. Perhaps you have charged yourself too much. Perhaps has asked yourself many times where erred, what could have done different, why wasn't recognized before. But there are moments when heaven asks that you loosen up from that guilt. Not everything depended on you. Not all blindness of the other was provoked by lack yours. There are people who only see after life teaches. This person passed to exerg you with other eyes because something fell by ground inside her, a resistance, a pride, a distraction, a limited vision. And when that fell, you appeared before her with more truth, not like idealization, but like reality, not like fantasy, but like whomever really marked. Someone who left a trace, someone who wasn't replaced. If you are listening to this of night, perhaps tired, perhaps in silence, perhaps trying to understand if still exists something beautiful reserved for this story, I want that you feel that this message didn't arrive by chance. There is a repositioning happening. You are being seen of another form, and this prepares new possibilities. It doesn't signify that everything will resolve in a step of magic, but it signifies that already it is no longer the same energy of before. The angels show that the image that this person has of you today carries more depth, more respect, and more truth. And this new vision touches directly the feeling, because nobody passes to admire deeply someone without being affected by it. This person can up to try to hold, but the heart already was moved. Compartilly this video with 2 dear people who need this message today. And if you can, leave also in the comments a prayer for your guardian angel. This creates a very beautiful chain of light and strengthens whomever arrives here needing direction. Now I want to tell you something very important. Don't run to prove nothing. Don't try to force a result. Don't return to diminish yourself to be recognized. What the angels show is that this change in the look of the other person came precisely when you left, of pushing truth with the hands. Continue firm. Continue taking care of your heart. Continue honoring your value, because that which is seen with truth passes to be treated with more seriedade. There is also a special sign in this message. Your lucky number for today is the 8. Write in the comments, "I receive the energy of the angels." My lucky number is 8, and I receive this message with faith. The 8 talks of strength, repositioning, recognition, and return of what looked like not being perceived. The angels say that the next movements of this person can come of a more sensitive form, more careful and even more observer. Perhaps doesn't begin with a big declaration. Perhaps begins with a gesture, a contact, a different way of speaking, a more distinct presence. A sign of that now there exists a more conscious look over you. And when this happens, try to observe with calm. Not always the first movement shows everything, but can reveal much. Say what I feel strongly here, that you cansou of being subestimada, cansou of delivering much and hiding how much this wounded you, cansou of waiting for maturity of the other while needed to continue strong. And sincerely, I think that this phase taught you much about self-love. Even if still exists feeling, something in you already understood that love without recognition machuca. And this is important, because now, if there is an approach, she will need to find a woman more conscious of the own value. The angels want that you know that this is not only about being loved, it's about being seen with clarity, being perceived with the dignity that deserves, being recognized by what is. And this values not only for this person, but for your life like a whole. The sky is messing in something bigger, is breaking patterns where you were felt, but not assumed, querida, but not valued, importante, but not treated like priority. And I like much of this part of the message, because she doesn't talk only of feeling, talks of repositioning spiritual, talks of leaving, of occupying smaller places than your value, talks of not accepting emotional crumbs when your heart knows how to love with depth, talks of trusting that whomever really ensurga you with truth doesn't manage to continue treating you of any way. If this person passed to ensurg you with other eyes, it is because heaven permitted an openness that before didn't exist. And this openness can bring conversations, approaches, clarifications, and even attitudes that you didn't expect anymore. But above all, she already brought a confirmation. You didn't pass in blank in the life of this person. You marked them. You stayed. You taught. And now this is being felt of a more strong form. If this message spoke with you, write in the comments. My value is being recognized, and my heart will be honored. Share your experience, like this video, and subscribe to the channel for more messages like this. Thank you for being here with me. May God bless your life, protect your heart, and illuminate your next steps until the next video.